Today will be a very different video from the ones I make, and it's going to have a more serious tone to it. Let's talk about love. I was planning on describing what love is in this video, but I want to give you live examples of what love is and what it really isn't. Love, by Google's definition, is a complex set of emotions and behaviors characterized by deep affection, intimacy, and commitment. But here's my definition of love. Love is the feeling that you can't go on a day without knowing what the person you like did today. Love is a feeling where you know you can't live without the special person. I'll give you an example. When you have a deep crush on somebody that you met, you sometimes have thoughts like, I wonder what they did today. I wonder what they ate today. How was their day in general? It's the actual care and interest of what the special person in your life did today that makes you wonder and think about them. When you think about your special someone, can you imagine being as happy without them as you are when you're with them? Most of you would answer no, because it would kill you to know that the person you have deep feelings for is no more in your life. How would you feel that the person who you love isn't in your life anymore for whatever reason? The reason why I'm asking these rhetorical questions is because my view of love is having the feeling that you can't live without your special person. You feel disconnected with something greater if you're not with them. And I'm not talking about not being with them temporarily. I'm talking about not being with them at all. You feel like a part of you would be incomplete, as if the special person makes you feel a part in you that makes you whole. Now, there are things that aren't love. Obsession isn't love. Now, you may disagree, but I'll give you an example soon. Love can be misinterpreted, and I'll give you an example for this one. If you never felt the social platonic relationship with a woman or a man, and you goon every day, and you probably don't really talk to people, you're going to misinterpret basic social interactions with love, based on your sexual preference, of course. And unfortunately, I have a story for that. First, at university, I really didn't go out that much, and I couldn't really hold up social interactions. I was afraid of embarrassing myself, and I had a stutter, and I genuinely thought I was the ugliest man in the whole of campus, which thankfully wasn't really the case. But one day I met my dorm neighbor in the kitchen, and let's call this girl Maria for the sake of it. Maria was also a bit socially shy, just like me, but we got along well. We both had that band kid humor, but the thing is, we clicked personality wise. Days went by and we started sending reels to each other and talked a lot over the phone. Now the issue is, since I never had any platonic interactions with a girl, I mistook a friendship for a relationship, and I genuinely started getting butterflies. But in reality, it was just a happy feeling that I made a friend. But my mind took the feeling and misinterpreted it and converted it into love. I really thought that I loved Maria for the most of my first year. I thought that because we hanged out and we got along easily, that was the definition of love. It was meant to be. I mean, we were so similar that our other dorm neighbors thought that we were dating, but we never were. But anytime we hung out, my heart genuinely felt like we were going on dates. Now the question is, why did I interpret it like that? Why did I convert something platonic to love? It's because of loneliness. Some of you may relate. Some of you probably fell in love with a person and got attached, even though the relationship was purely just friendship. And this could be for many reasons. You genuinely enjoyed spending time with them. You genuinely were happy when you were with them. You genuinely couldn't wait to see them again and hang out with them. But notice how all the categories I listed to love is also the same for friendship. Take your best friend for example. They fill in the same boxes that I attributed to love to friendship. And notice how you're not head over heels with your best friend. Your best friend makes you feel happy. They make you feel joy and you can't wait to see them again. So then I ask myself, what's the difference between my friendship with my best friend and Maria? One answer could be that, well, I was a gooner. I thought that that's how relationship with girls work. Funny enough, my friend actually corrected me and told me that the only reason why I liked this girl Maria was because I just literally jerk off a lot. And because that my mind is so filled with gooner raw and just random bullshit that my mind interprets any social interactions with a girl to basically being in love with them. And that made me do some deep thinking. How do I know that I actually like this girl called Maria? How is she different from my best friend? Even though my best friend ticks all those categories of making me feel happy, wanted, comforted, and making me want to see them again, this isn't the same thing with Maria. But why? As time went on, me and Maria got closer. But not too close to the point where I can confess my love to her. But I did anyway. One day I told her to come outside and sit with me on this bench where the ducks were, and I was really nervous. I was so nervous to the point where I had to practice my lines of telling her that I liked her. When we sat down, I told her that I liked her, but instead of saying I like you, I fumbled and said,
Yo, I'll fuck with you, twin heavy.
Please fucking shoot me. I fumbled it really bad because I was nervous, and part of me was saying that I shouldn't say I like you because it's corny and whatnot and I'd probably be made fun of. But when I said that, she looked at me and she told me, Lemon, this is too early. The issue is, I never really got a no, but instead I got a sentence that fed my delusion that she probably liked me back. It's too early. Ladies, if you're watching this, please don't be afraid to say no. If you know the person and you know that they won't do anything stupid if they got rejected, then just say no and move on. Don't beat around the bush. After I got semi-rejected, I still thought that there was a way to pull this back, since in my mind I was thinking that since she didn't really say no, she could be possibly open to the idea. So my mind interpreted that sentence as, it's too early and we should get to know each other longer and then I'll say yes. This is when my love turned into delusion. I was really desperate for love and affection. Since I never had any love and affection, I generally thought I was less of a man. I thought that if I finally had a girlfriend, I probably would be a man, and that was just wrong. When love turns into delusion and you know that in the back of your mind that you're delusional, you need to cut that connection ASAP. No matter how much you lie to yourself, no matter how much you say you're not interested, and if your crush rejects you, don't be friends with her anymore. Because you know deep down that the feelings for her are still there and your feelings haven't really changed. You're just hiding those feelings better. Me and Maria became friends again and my delusion grew even worse, and something bad came into the picture: jealousy. The feeling of jealousy is very dangerous when you have a crush. Some may argue that some jealousy is good, but I generally think that if you're an overthinker and you're jealous, that's a terrible combination. If your crush rejects you and you have this delusion that you can pull this back, feeling jealousy just slowly starts to become obsessive. I'll give you an example. When I saw a guy talk to Maria, I became really jealous. Not knowing if they were platonic or not, my mind still just became jealous. Now thankfully I matured and thankfully I actually learned from my mistakes. Now I'm not going to tell you the full story and I'll probably make it into a separate video, but the reason why I'm telling you this is because there is a wrong way to interpret love. Love isn't delusional and love doesn't make you obsessive to the point where you get jealous if someone else talks to them. Love is something that when you're together with this person, you can't imagine yourself without them. Sure, this may sound a little obsessive, but think about it like this. Now I'm going to talk to the people who do generally have a relationship, who do generally have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Can you imagine yourself as happy as you are with them without them? Like I said, it is really hard to imagine that because you're happy with them and you feel like they make you complete. This may sound a bit selfish, but that's just how I view it. And maybe as older as I get, I could just maybe retract that statement. Love is something that makes you feel complete, makes you feel whole, makes you feel like you are loved by somebody, you belong in this world. And love kind of reassures you that. I like to separate love in three categories: the family love, the friendship love, and the romantic love. Family love is the love you have for your siblings, your mother, or your father. I love my sister, but even though she or I may not show it, we still love each other. Even though sometimes I do her wrong and she does me wrong, I still love her. But the thing is, this is where you can't confuse family love with friendship love. I love my sister, but I'm never gonna love her as the way I love my friends. Because the way I love my friends comes with a whole different package. I make fun of my friends and they make fun of me. If I treat my family the way I treat my friends, that dynamic just wouldn't work. My friends call me a fat fuck, and then I call my friends other words as well. If I took that banter dynamic and I literally put it on my family, that would not work out. But if you apply family love to your friends, that's just still not gonna work. There's a reason why you separate family humor with friendship humor. It's almost as if the love I'm talking about with my family is in a whole different dimension than the love I'm talking about with my friends. The same thing is applied with friendship and romance. Friendship love is really different to romantic love. Friendship love has brotherhood, it has loyalty, but so has the romantic love. But one thing is, you just don't treat your romantic partner just like how you treat your best friend. There's a different dynamic, and that's what makes it unique. There's a reason why families, friendships, and romantic interests are unique, because they're different. Now, in the grand scheme of things, you want to treat each other like family. You want to treat your friends like family, but there's a fine line between actually treating them like family and treating them as if they're part of your life. Because again, family is part of your life, friendships are part of your life, and romantic interests are part of your life. But again, you need to separate them. There's a reason why I don't dap out my mom, but I dap out my friends. Love is a very necessary feeling to experience. I generally think that if you don't experience any form of love, then you're not really living. If you don't experience one of the three categories, you're not really living. If you don't experience family love, then that's unfortunate. But if you don't experience friendship love, that's also unfortunate. But if you don't experience even the third love, which is romantic interest love, who's to say that you're living life as intended? I understand that some people have their preferences, but can you imagine how happy a person be if they're all alone? That's loneliness. If you don't experience any of the three categories, then you're lonely. People who are single and don't talk to the families, they probably have friends, hence why they experience friendship love. People who don't have friends but have a family, they at least experience family love. People who don't have friends nor family but they have a romantic interest, they experience the romantic love. But to have none of that, it kind of makes you feel like you're not experiencing what humans are supposed to experience. I think love is a universal feeling, but I do sometimes think that love is different from person to person. The way I feel love probably isn't the same as the way you feel love. The way my heart beats for my partner probably isn't the way your heart beats for your partner. I do also want to talk about one thing, is to handle rejection. To handle rejection is a really hard process because you do get to blame yourself. Taking rejection is hard. Everyone can agree here. Everyone once in their life had their heart broken. It's a universal feeling that everyone goes through. My dad, my great-grandfather, my grandfather, Everyone goes through heartbreak, but the way you handle heartbreak is what it really matters. My first ever heartbreak, I literally couldn't get out of bed. I was so upset that I fumbled this one girl and I was blaming myself. Why didn't I say this instead of that? Why didn't I do this instead of that? So many regrets are filled in your head when you get rejected. You mostly blame yourself, and sometimes that's not a healthy way to look at things. That's just how life works. Whether you did it properly or not, realistically, she probably would have said no, or he probably would have said no. That's basically the cycle of life. Life goes as this natural flow, and sometimes things are out of your control. You can't really force someone to love you. When I was a kid, I was thinking about what wishes I would ask for a genie. And then one of the wishes was for a girl to love me. But as I grow up, I realized that that wish wouldn't be a good wish. When you ask a genie for a girl to like you, you're not really making that girl like you. It's as if they don't have free will to like you. Love is free will, and it's the choice of actually caring for someone. If you remove the choice aspect, you're living in a delusion. Sooner or later, you're gonna realize that what you're experiencing isn't really love. What you're experiencing is almost similar as fucking dating ChatGPT, just getting the answers you want, not the answers that they want. Let me elaborate on that. If a person chooses to love you, that is a very unique thing. Because a whole different person with a whole different mind, a whole different conscience, tells you that they care about you. But if you remove that aspect, then what is so unique about that love? If the person is forced to love you, there's no real love there. There's nothing unique about it. You're basically loving yourself at that point. You're basically just talking to a mirror, because you're only hearing what you want to hear. Because love has to come naturally, from one's will. You can't force it. Anyways, that's really all I had to say. Please subscribe and I'll see you later. Bye bye.